So today we're looking at the order of operations. Some people call it PEMDAS. So if you guys are familiar with PEMDAS, do PEMDAS. I actually call it GEMS. But let me explain what GEMS is. I'm going to work GEMS. Like I said, if you guys are familiar with PEMDAS, go with PEMDAS. I'm going to do GEMS. What GEMS stands for is for groups. So we're going to write groups. And then what I mean with groups, it could be like 3 and then 5 plus 2 inside parentheses. I'm going to go, the first thing I will do, we'll do the parentheses. That's a group, right? That's what the P on PEMDAS stands for. But another way that we see a group is inside a fraction. What I mean with that is like 3 plus 5 over 2. The first thing I will do, I'll call this 8 over 2. Right? When a fraction is not simple, like one of the sides, either the top or the bottom is not simple, that's a group. Right? I'm not quite done with those problems, but at least that's the first thing I will do. The 3 plus 5. That's a group. So that's the first thing we do, groups. The E for GEMS stands for exponents. An exponent is something that we saw last week, like 4 squared, I call that 16. And not 4 times 2, but 4 twice, so 4 times 4, that's why I call it 16. So work your groups first, and work your exponents. The M, what that stands for is multiplication slash division. Multiplication and division, in mathematics, we see it as the same thing. So if you have multiplications and division, work them at the same time. However, if there's more than one, work them from left to right. What I mean with that is, let's say I have 2 times 4 divided by 2. Let me wait for this thing to wake up a little. Alright, 2 times 4 divided by 2. In this case, work the multiplication first before we do the division. And then that, because the multiplication was at the left. Right? If you see more than one, multiplication and division, if you see more than one, treat them from left to right. Right? If the division was first, I would have worked the division first. But here the multiplication is first, so I work the multiplication first. Kind of like how you read. When you read, you go from left to right. The same thing with these. Go from left to right. And then the S on GEMS, so the last thing we do in GEMS, we subtract slash add. So subtraction and addition are treated at the same level. And just like multiplication and division, go from left to right. And this is the last thing we're going to do. That, obviously, an example would be like 3 plus 4 minus 2. Right? I think subtraction and addition, we know how they look like. But treat them from left to right, and that's the last thing we're going to do. The only time we do subtraction and addition first, the only time we're going to do it first is if it comes in a group. Okay, once again, subtraction and addition, we do it last unless it is in a group. That's the only time we do subtraction and addition first. For this week, what we're going to do, we're going to look at the order operations. Today we'll start it simple. Only 2 operations per question. Only 2 operations. Right? Each of these is an operation, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. All those are operations. Today we only got 2. Tomorrow we got 3. On Wednesday we got 4. And on Thursday we got 5. Right? Each day I want to add 1 operation to each. But we're doing the order operations the whole week. Once again, I'll start you guys easily. Let me pass out the worksheet for today. For today, we only got 2 operations. let me take a look at question number 1. Alright, something simple. I see the two operations that I see are multiplication and subtraction. But I know subtraction is the last thing that I do, so let's work multiplication first. How much is 6 times 3? 18. So let me call this 18 minus 5. How much is 18 minus 5? 13. 13. So matter of fact, today, your answers, there will be whole numbers. Right? In real life, you can deal with decimals and fractions, but if you have a fraction or a decimal, that's just a hint. I'm telling you, you did something wrong. So go back and check. Your answer should be whole numbers. Looking at question number 2, let me do the group first. How much is 1 plus 11? 12. So let me call this 12 divided by 2. How much is 12 divided by 2? 6. 6. And I know I told you guys we do addition, subtraction last, but that one was inside a group. So that's why we did it first. Once again, addition, subtraction is done last unless it is in a group. And that group can be represented with parentheses or in a fraction. Right? Either the top or the bottom, that's simple. Any questions on the front, which means the first 10 questions? Let's take a look at question number 11. So let me flip the page. Question number 11, we have letters, but at least for number 11, the value of x is 2, the value of y is also 2. So let me replace my letters with those numbers. So I'm going to go 5 plus 2 plus 2. It's addition, subtraction. So I'm going to go the first 2. How much is 5 plus 2? 7. 7. So then I get 7 plus 2, which is 9. So we have letters, but I'm telling you guys what value to replace them for. If you look at question number 12, H is going to be 4, J is going to be 5. So let me write this as 5. Inside the parentheses, 5 plus 4. So parentheses is a group. So let me work the group first. How much is 5 plus 4? 9. Let me keep it inside the parentheses. Right, so the 5 and the 9 put together, that means times, when two things are put together, how much is 5 times 9? 45. Nice. And you guys know the rule of 45 with your hands? Oh, I mean the rule of 9 with your hands? Yeah? Like, this is how you times. Like, if I'm going to go 9 times 5, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I bend the 5th finger. I see 4 on one side, 5 on the other, so that's 45. If I was to go 9 times 7, I bend the 7th finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 6 on one side, 3 on the other, so 9 times 7 is 63. So that's the rule of 9. So 9 times 5 gives us 45. So multiplying by 9 is not hard. Alright, any questions? Okay, number 13. Alright, that's a good question. Let's take a look at number 13. X equals 4, y equals 3. So let me write this as 4 squared and then a 3. When two things are put together, it means times, but let me use my parentheses on 3 just to separate them. But I know before I multiply, I have to do my exponents. Right, on GEMS, exponents comes first. So let's take a look at the exponent. How much is 4 squared? 16. 16. So we have 16 times 3, which is 16 times 3, 48. So when they were together, the letters, that was times. We just did the exponent before we multiply. Remember, in GEMS, E comes before M. So matter of fact, let me take a look at a simple question, but sometimes when they're too simple, people get them wrong. Let's take a look at number 20. For M, I'm going to write 1. For N, I'm going to write 1 as well. So I have 1 plus 1 squared. Does any of you get a 4? exponents first. How much is 1 squared?
2.
1. So, how much is 1 plus 1?
2.
2. Alright. Any other questions? Make sure you guys finish your work.